Too many photographers miss the shots they want because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. These shots of mine I took were not by luck. I knew before even leaving my house that the light and conditions I wanted were going to help me capture the photos that I envisioned. Too many photographers are guessing, and that's why they're not capturing the shots that they want. Today, we're going to go over apps that will help you better predict and plan and capture the shots that you're hoping to capture. Let's get into it. Hi, my name is Chris and I'm a landscape photographer. In this video, we're going over the apps I recommend for photographers. I'll have timestamps for each of the apps if you want to jump to a specific one. But with that, let's get right into it with the first app, PhotoPills. PhotoPills is the only app I'm going over today that does cost money, but it is just a one-time payment and it's highly worth it. The app is full of all kinds of different what they call pills, or tools, calculators, things like that can help you with your photography. I'm not going to be able to go over everything as there are a lot, but here's just some of my favorites. So the first pill that I want to go over is the sun pill. This one helps you to know what the sunrise and sunset times are, also what the different natural light phases are and when they're going to happen. You can change the location and the date and time and all of that in the settings. And it has a really handy augmented reality where you can visualize the actual path of the sun and where it's going to be at a specific time, which is great for planning shots if you want the sun in a specific location. When you're in the augmented reality, you can tap and swipe to change the time as well, which is nice. The next one is the moon pill. This will show you when the moon will also rise and set, the phase that it's in. One of the things I like the most about this one is the calendar option, which will show you all of the different phases for the calendar dates, and you can see when's a new moon, when's a full moon. This is great for planning things like astrophotography. And the moon also has an augmented reality view that you can use for night. You can use this for things like the Milky Way as well, which is really handy. The next one is the exposure pill. I most often use this for long exposures where I'm using an ND filter, but it's really handy. You can tell it what to calculate, the shutter speed, the aperture, the ISO, and then you put in your test settings, or in other words, the settings that are giving you the exposure you want. So you can click into any of these and change them. And then it'll give you the equivalent based on the filter that you choose and how many stops it is to help you get the exact same exposure with your filter on. So that can be handy, especially for some of those longer exposures. The next pill that I want to go over is the time-lapse pill. The time-lapse pill is really nice for giving you some quick calculations related to time lapses so you can tell it what to calculate. What I often do is just the clip length. And so then I can put in my shooting settings. If I'm doing a 10-second interval, I'm shooting for 4.5 hours, so on. Then I know it's going to give me roughly a clip of about 1 minute in length for my time lapse. This is just helpful for me to kind of plan and know what to expect when I'm taking a long time lapse. Now, one of the most powerful tools that PhotoPills offers is the planner. The planner kind of combines a lot of the things we've been looking at, but you can use a map, place pins, and plan shots. So for instance, this was a plan I was making to shoot the Milky Way over or reflecting in a lake. And so you can see that the kind of circle dot line in the middle is the Milky Way. And as I move the time, it kind of shows me where that's going to be. You have these other lines indicating the sun, its direction, things like that. On the bottom, you can see, when's golden hour, blue hour, nighttime, daytime, all of those things, as well as the map showing that visually. You can click in and change the date and time, so you can plan this ahead of time for a given location and know exactly where things are going to be, when sunset, all that type of thing for that spot at that time. And another really helpful thing is in the very top, you'll see there's that banner. and I can swipe on it and see different things. So I can see information related to the sun and moon. I can see those sunrise and sunset times, same with the moon. I can see when all the natural light phases start and begin. Blue and golden hour called out specifically. I can see when the Milky Way galactic core is going to be visible. And you can even see, I like this one a lot, what it looks like. So you'll see if I move the time, it shows in that little circle picture the different angle and what it's going to look like, which helps me to plan how the Milky Way is going to look in my image and my composition. And it has other things in there as well that you can load in. But the best part about these plans is you could put in all the work, create a really cool plan for a location you really want to shoot, and then you can actually save that plan and load them in later. So you can have these all put together, load it in, go take the shot, and get the picture you're looking for. This is how I did the Milky Way, one that you saw in the beginning of this video, and I've done other shots as well. Now this next app that I want to go over can be a little hard to learn how to read, but it's great for predicting things like the cloud conditions, helping you to get great sunsets. And the app is called Clear Outside. Now the way this works is at the very top, if you'll just pay attention to kind of that top section with the different cloud layers, you have total cloud, low cloud, medium cloud, and high cloud. And the way it works is the number represents the percent of the sky obscured, meaning 100 would be total cloud coverage, and a lower number is going to be less cloud coverage. And the color is a representation of how obscured that layer is, so it coincides with the number. But essentially what you're looking for is you want very little low clouds, but then you want more of the high and maybe medium clouds. That way the clouds are going to get lit up with the sunset. So the ideal situation might be something like you see in this column where it's 100 high, but then you have the 14 low and the 49 medium. That might give you a good sunset, letting you know that there's high clouds, but there's not low ones. So this can be a useful tool. Now this next app has to be one of my favorites for weather, and it's called Windy. And this app has all kinds of different layers of satellite data and things like that related to weather that you can see, but it's really great for checking specific conditions. So you can change the location, you can open the side menu, and you'll see that there's all kinds of different layers. You could check for thunderstorms if you want to know when lightning and things like that are happening, snow. But what I most often use it for is clouds. So basically anything that is that yellow color is no cloud coverage, and then the clouds are the grays and the whites. You can slide the bar along the bottom to see how the cloud coverage is going to change. And similar to the last app I talked about, one thing that's nice is you do have different layers. So you can look at low clouds. You can just look at the general clouds layer. What you want to make sure, again, for like a good sunset is that you're not going to have low clouds at sunset time, but maybe you have some high clouds. So this is a great tool for checking clouds, predictions, and also all kinds of other layers as well. But you can scroll to the time, you can zoom in on a location you're shooting at, kind of see where those clouds should be around the time you're shooting. Really great for predicting weather. Now, if you're like me and you like to hike and get in the mountains to take pictures, one of the best apps to find good hikes and learn more about them is AllTrails. You may be familiar with it, but I use it for a specific case of checking the conditions at the location now. What does it look like? What's going on? And let me show you what I mean. So here I have pulled up one of my favorite hikes near Salt Lake, the Lake Blanche Trail. I can see the hike information, the trail, get directions, see the reviews, conditions, all the typical type of stuff you might think to see in this type of app or a hiking app. But what I use it most for is I click on the image, it pulls up photos hikers have submitted, but you can see it's doing it by the latest photos. So if I click on today, I can see what does it look like right now. I can see what the lake looks like. I can even see if there's nothing for today, what it recently looked like. I use this to check things like, Are the trees changing colors in fall? Are the flowers blooming yet? All of that type of thing. Is there snow still? So it's really great for checking locations that you can hike to and seeing how they progress and change as time goes on. So love using it for that. That's all trails. Now, one of the tools that I use the most is Google Maps. I have this pulled up on the computer. You can do it on your phone. I find it's a little easier on the computer to do a lot of the things, but both work. But essentially, I'll search a location. So here I searched Cannon Beach in Oregon. You can click on this, and like I do with all trails, you can look at the photos, get ideas. It's not as easy to see what are the recent or current conditions, but for instance, maybe I want to go when these white flowers are blooming. I can see that this photo is from September of 2022. That can give you a good idea. You can look at videos and things as well. And another thing that I'm sure most of you are familiar with is the street view. So if I drag this little person over, I can take a look at the beach. I can get some ideas of what I might shoot, kind of what things are going to look like. And that's super helpful. And one maybe more hidden but really useful tool that I feel like Google needs to advertise more is called Google My Maps. You can simply search that and it'll allow you to create your own custom maps. It saves them in your Google Drive. So for example, here's one I created of Grand Teton National Park. You can create different layers. You can kind of choose the coloring, things like that, add directions. You can even share these. It'll give you a link. But it's as simple as doing something like this. So let's say I really wanted to add, I don't know, let's just pick one of these, Taggart Lake to my map. So let's say I search that. Okay, Taggart Lake, there it is. I click add to map, it's now in there. You can add your own custom descriptions that will show up when you look at your map. You can add photos. You can add your own, you can upload them, find them from Google Images. That's great if you want a reference image of what that place looks like or a certain shot you're trying to get, you can upload it. I just find these maps to be extremely helpful. And one pro tip with these maps is you can actually come up here, click on the dots, do export, and it will give you a file of that map. And then using my next app that I'm going to suggest, you can actually use these maps offline without cell service. So let's jump into the next app, Maps.me. So Maps.me is going to work like any of your other map GPS apps. It can give you directions. You can use it to drive and navigate where you're going. You'll need to download the states you're going to be in offline if you want to be able to use it offline. But like I said, one of the most powerful features is you can take your custom Google My Map that you created with all the custom spots and pins of where you want to go, import it, and have all those offline. So when you're in some of these more remote areas without service, you can still navigate to them. So here's an example of, this is Southern Utah, kind of near St. George. And I've got all these custom pins of things I imported from a map. So under more, you can download maps for locations you may need to, like states you're going to be in. There's a lot you can do, by the way, just on the free plan. You don't need to really pay. You just have to be careful with which ones you download and how many. But if you go to favorites, you'll see I have a folder here, St. George Zion Vacation 2024. If I click on that, it's got all of the things that I've pinned. Those were my photo locations from my custom Google My Map. And it's as easy as, once you're in here, you can create a new folder, name it whatever you want, click the three dots in the top right, hit import, and then import that file that you exported from your Google My Map. And as long as you have, like I said, those states downloaded offline, you can now drive and navigate to all these locations, even if you don't have cell service. So super powerful tool. Hopefully you're finding this video helpful. And if you are, please leave a like and subscribe so you can see my future videos as well for more helpful content like this. Now, these next apps I'm going to go over are not ones I use as frequently, so I don't pretend to be an expert, but they can be really helpful for certain situations. The first I want to look at is Google Earth. Now here I have Google Earth pulled up and I've searched Delicate Arch here in Utah. There's a lot of helpful things you can do. Again, I don't know all the ins and outs of this tool. I should probably learn it more, but one of the helpful things is you can click on 3D and you can get a better idea of what the land or landscape looks like. Where are the ridges? Where are the mountains, the valleys? That can really help you to plan out your shot, to plan out a composition, lots of things like that. So again, there's probably way more you can do with Google Earth, and I need to look into it more. But this is just one of the things that could be helpful to do. The next app that I want to recommend is called Peak Visor. Let's take a look. Peak Visor is super helpful. It has things like hiking trails, and it's a great peak identifier. It can actually use your phone's camera to identify the names of the peaks. It has some really good 3D maps as well. So just another good outdoor resource as far as mountains and hiking and areas like that go. Now, another great app that I don't have downloaded because I'm not living near the coast is Tides Near Me. Tides Near Me is great for knowing what the tides are in your area, the high tide, the low, all that type of information can be seen in the app. It's super useful. It can use your location. You can see like the actual distances. You can see time and all of that. So super helpful for tides, any coastal photography, that type of thing. Highly recommend Tides Near Me. Now, this last app that I want to share is more of my own personal tip, but it's something that really helps me when I come across inspiration, places, photos, compositions, whatever it may be that I really like and want to try. I'll often screenshot it and save it for my own future reference, and I use Google Keep, which if you have a Google account is free to use. You can do it on the computer or on your phone. I believe it's meant for note-taking, but I just love uploading my screenshots. I can open the app and then see things that I've screenshotted, ideas or things I may want to try. You can, add notes and type things in, but it's a really quick and easy way to just save something off. I keep it there for inspiration and ideas of things that I may want to do. And that's Google Keep. Well, I hope that this video was able to help you. If there are other apps that you use that I didn't mention, please comment them below and let me know what they are and how you use them. Or if you'd like to see a video of me using these apps to plan a shot all the way from start to finish, the planning phase, going out, taking the photo, editing the photo, and kind of the final product, let me know that as well. Be interested in possibly doing a video like that in the future. And with that, thanks for watching.